got to Greece, we had 10 stops, and really basically this is when our holiday started. First stop, Parga, we had 5 days. On our main stop was at Gialova, where we had 2 weeks. Ferry journey from Ancona to Igoumenitsa is 725 kilometers, and it takes approximately about 16 hours. Now this is where we had a bit of trouble, because see that space here? I had no idea he wanted me to reverse into that. And as I was coming round, I thought he wanted me to follow where that truck is there. That would have been a lot easier, but oh no, here he goes. He's getting a bit cross with me. Anyway, when I understood where he wanted me to go, things seemed to work out a bit. He does get a bit frustrated though. I think he's getting a bit cross. All this could have been avoided had he just let me know in the first place where he wanted to go. I can laugh at it now. It was a very tight fit. There wasn't much room at all. After a good night's sleep, we were ready to get off and start our holiday in Greece. This is a bit of a bone shaker. Reminds me of the time Delia lost her microwave on the Sahara Desert, travelling on what they call the pistes. Port area is absolutely massive, and in the 3 times we've been here, I've never seen it really any busier than what it is at the moment. It's a journey of about 45 kilometers and takes about 43 minutes. It's quite a pleasant road and a very interesting access to Parga. To the left is Parga itself. You don't want to make the mistake of driving left through the town, because that would be a nightmare. This is where you mustn't turn left, else you're going to be in real trouble. To get to Valtas Beach, you have to bypass the town and climb up before you can get down to Valtas Beach. And just to show you this road into Valtas Beach, it's really pretty, a spectacular view. Quite a tight little turn when you get into the town though, and if you don't know where you're going, you would probably be wondering, where the hell is this campsite? This is a very nice hotel on the left. We've ate there a couple of nights. They used to do speciality nights, but they've stopped that. And now we're approaching Valtas Beach, and you must admit, it does look quite spectacular. It's all looking very nice. The weather is perfect, and this is the ideal beach for a netch, because you can come out of the van and go for a morning swim. If you don't think it's very busy at the moment, that's because it's 8:30 in the morning, but come lunchtime, all those chairs will be covered with people. All along here, there are bars on the right-hand side, and particularly further on, there are some spectacular restaurants and bars, well worth visiting. And here we are. I have to say, the GPS was fantastic, and I'm really pleased I upgraded it. Hardly ever let us down, apart from Pylos, which I'll tell you about later. I can really recommend this site. It's got its own bar where you can have snacks and a great little shop. And it's so close to the beach. Parga is the place we went to on our first visit to Greece, and it was recommended by Robert, a cousin of mine who lives in Greece, in Thessaloniki. It turned out really well, obviously, because this is our third visit, and we've come back to the very same site. We like it because it's obviously the proximity to the sea. It's got very nice walks.
So 50
views.
yards from the
The walk
campsite,
to Parga
you've got
itself,
this lovely
nice,
beach bar,
interesting, if a little bit busy now, town.
which is available in evening for drinks and food, and looks very luxurious, very nice.
We adopted it as our go-to bar for coffee and drinks and stuff. This music, wow. You only need to have a drink to have use of the pool.
Season finishes on the 15th of October.
We've decided we're going to chill out today and get some seats and just enjoy the day on the beach. I don't know, I haven't tried yet. Well, today seat and parasol, spend the day on the beach. And there's our spot. So, stage 2 on the beach. I'm reading quite a disturbing book, really, called Fantasies of the Beach by Paul, the other one. I've forgotten what page I was on now. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, gone, put her feet in the water, and this is just the ideal spot. She loves swimming. Oh, Annette's having a good time. Me next, I think I'm going to have my feet done. There are two ways to get into Parga. One is by boat and the other is by walking.
Tiller.
Yeah. I know. It costs €3 and operates until midnight. So you can go over for a meal. Quite happy that knowledge that you're going to come back, because to be honest with you, the walk back over those steep hills is a bit challenging. Well, we just go here for coffee, and I have to say, we've got a very nice view. Of course, the other way is by walking. It's a very steep climb, but you are rewarded with amazing views. Well, I just have to record the position where we are.
Very good. Too much.
The lovely spot. Gosh, this is.
Don't you?
Just walked up this really steep hill, and this is the view you get from the castle of Parga, and it looks amazing. Walking back down into Parga, whoops, too many schnapps. The only trouble with going down is you've got to come up, but there is a boat actually trip which stops at midnight, so we'll probably take that. That's a lovely bakery. No, it isn't. No, it's not. It's a dummy. Exactly.
The bakery's still open.
I know. Everything's really open. He's cosy. And that's where we took the picture from, up there. In the 5 days we were at, we must have walked into Parga 4 or 5 times, sometimes twice a day. We had one boat trip there and one boat trip back on a different day. Noticed is just how busy it is in October. When we've been here before, it was much, much quieter. But I think Parga has been really splashed in the English press and it's become very, very popular. On our many trips to Parga, we did have a very nice meal at this restaurant.
Well, that's a rather nice view for a meal, isn't it?
And afterwards we joined the locals for a nice cool beer. Well, after a pleasant evening, we decided we'd done enough walking and we were going to take the boat back. What we didn't realise is when we got to the beach, Valtos Beach, it was very hard to get off the gangplank. It was such a long one and you couldn't see. It's time to say goodbye to Valtos Beach and Parga. We were sad to leave, and I'll just leave you a few little photos of the place just to remind you how beautiful this can be. And just when you thought it was all lovely, I'll leave you with the storm that we had. Can't leave Valtos Beach without the storm. It was just one day though, and it soon went. One of the reasons why we went to Koronisia is because it was recommended to us by 2 lovely couples we met at Parga, and they said it was absolutely beautiful and peaceful. And we thought, well, after Parga, which is quite busy, we could do a bit of that. So off we went. We had no idea where we were going. And it is a weird place to get to. Just look at this road. It's 10 kilometers long. And you really got to concentrate. One slip either way and you're going to be off in the water. So you have to be really careful. So what's it like when you get there? Well, it was out of season, and I must admit, it was not what we expected. Everywhere was closed, except for the little cafe on the main car park where you're allowed to stay. I can imagine though, in full season, this is a much more interesting place. You can see from the infrastructure all the umbrellas on the beach and on the other main beach, which I'll show you later. Obviously there's lots going on, but at the moment nothing. So I will agree with the people. Yes, it's peaceful. And if that's what you want, this is a place to go to. And the other thing, of course, is it's free. One of the things that probably coloured our judgment was the fact that the weather wasn't very good at all. The other people told us that they had fantastic swimming, saw lots of sea life, turtles, dolphins, and really enjoyed their stay here. This is a view from the cafe. You can see our van in the distance. I can imagine in the height of season this would be a great place, but apart from one local, we were the only customers. As we were walking to the other beach, we did actually pass another restaurant that was open, and it looked very nice. This is a picture of the beach bar when we arrived. It doesn't look too inviting, does it? But to be fair, it was closed up for winter. I'm sure with better weather and in season, this is a delightful place. But you have to remember, it's quite a detour. So would we come again? Not sure. We're on our way to our next stop, Nafpaktos. And this is another place that was recommended to us by someone else that was staying at Parga. Now this was a real find. We normally avoid motorways and tolls, but for some reason this time we decided that we would use it. And I wish we hadn't, because it was very expensive. It was 70 euros. So where is Nafpaktos? It's in the Gulf of Corinth. South of it is the Peloponnese. We found a great place to stay on Park for night. It was right on the coast and only 1 kilometre walk into the centre of the town. It's a very pleasant walk, and not only do you have a fantastic view, but there's loads of shops, restaurants and bars. After a kilometre's walk, you'll come to this very pretty little harbour. It used to be the first line of defence for the castle, but now the harbour is surrounded by coffee bars and restaurants. It's a great place to wine and dine, or just watch the world go by having your morning coffee.
This is a really lovely town. Not the noise behind me, but
the main road behind the promenade is equally fascinating. It's full of individual shops, cafes, churches and museums, and it also has the access to the castle. As you get higher up these steps, it gets a lot steeper and you feel very exposed.
Well, this is high enough. Started off enthusiastic enough, but bloody hell, these steps are steep. So I don't think we'd bother going up to the castle. Still, you've got a lovely view.
I've just read the history of this castle and it's very complicated. Needless to say, since 455 BC, Nafpaktos has passed through many hands and been the site of so many battles. Too many to mention in this video. But let's fast forward to October 1571, when the legendary Battle of Lepanto took place between the Ottomans and the Europeans, leading to a victory for the Europeans. I mention this because the battle is still celebrated every year, and a reenactment was to be staged the week we were there. Unfortunately, we needed to move on, so we didn't see it. Nafpaktos became part of independent Greece in March 1829. I thought I'd just open the door, but what a view you have. Over there is Patras, or the start of Patras, and if I walked a little bit further you'll be able to see that wonderful bridge that we're going over today. I was a bit concerned about this particular camper stop because it's really right on the road, and I thought, to be honest with you, it was going to be very noisy.
but it's not a main road, and we had a good night. Just some cars, but nothing.
So we take our leave of the lovely Nafpaktos and we're on to a place near Egio, and the campsite is Enpo. Now that was an experience. So why do we travel 33 miles? Well, we just stayed at Nafpaktos for 2 nights, and the night before that was Koronisia, both without any facilities other than water. And we knew we were going to Nafplion, and we wouldn't have any facilities there either. So we really needed a campsite to top up the water, clear our black set, dump our grey water, and a net. Most important of all, needed to wash our hair. So we desperately needed a hookup. And the other factor is it's a beautiful coast, and the view that you get when you're driving along there is stunning. We tend not to use the motorways, and particularly the tolls, because really we want to explore the character of Greece. But if you're on the country road, you will come across this type of delay. It's at this time you need to remind yourself it's the journey and not the destination that counts. We chose Enplo because it had all the facilities that we wanted. It was in a reasonable distance and it was on the coast. We had heard that the owner was quite particular about how you use the waste disposal area, and I can understand why. It's very tight to reverse into, and he's particular on which way you do it and watches you, which is a bit off-putting. Unfortunately for us, we arrived at the end of the season, so a lot of the cafes on the front were closed. His site was quite empty. They'd had a storm the night before, so everywhere looked a little bit shell-shocked. It's €12 a night, but that's not off the restaurant cost if you eat there. The restaurant does have good reviews, so we decided that we would eat there. But I don't know whether it was the end of the season or whatever, but actually I think we would have preferred our own food. So we leave in the morning to go to our main destination, Nafplion. And I'll just mention that we're 7 meters and this gate here is quite tight. So I would think anything over 7.5 might struggle a little bit. We've had wonderful weather in Greece. I mean, we've had the odd storm, but it soon passes and the following day will be clear blue skies again. Our route takes us very close to the Corinth Canal, so we decided to have another look. It's an amazing piece of engineering, considering it was started by the Roman Emperor Nero. The major construction finally recommenced in 1881, but it was hampered by geological and financial problems that bankrupted the original builders. It was completed in 1893, but due to the canal's narrowness, navigational problems, and periodic closure to repair because of landslides from its steep sides, it failed to attract the traffic and revenue expected by the operator. If you've not been to Nafplion, put it on your list because it's one of the most romantic towns in Greece, or so I'm told. As you can see, there is a huge parking area, and this is where we parked for the night. I'm showing you this clip to give you some idea just how huge this area is. What I hadn't realised is that you can also park in the main car park, which is much closer to the town. So the following day we actually moved to that area. There is water, but no other facilities. The castle dominates the skyline. We were here, I think, about 22 years ago when we were on a flotilla holiday sunsail. And we did then climb the 897 steps to the castle. It is very steep. We didn't bother this time. Palamidi is its name, and it's got an interesting history. It was built by the Venetians in 1711 and 1714, and it was the last fortress that they built. Yet, 1 year later, the Turks defeated the castle. Also, the interesting thing is that Nafplion is the first place in Greece that won independence in November the 29th, 1822. It's an easy and very nice walk into town. Nafplion is a great place to visit. It's full of little streets which are packed with restaurants and shops.
There's so many things here that catch the eye. It's going to be hard to be bored here. This is a great street for restaurants, one after the other.
And as you're walking around, you'll suddenly come across these amazing places of worship. So as the nights draw in and the temperature becomes a really comfortable level, Nafplion comes alive.
I'm sorry, these photos don't do the town justice. I just didn't have the right ones to show you.
There's always something going on. This year it was an all-women's motorbike tour. Last time we were here, they closed the roads and it was a family bike ride. There must have been over 1,500 bikes. It was an amazing sight. Sounds like someone's in pain.
Oh, here we are. Saturday market in Nafplion. Oh my goodness me. Bit of a... What? Everything is so cheap. Well, we take our leave of the market and continue exploring the town. You'll find it quite compact and you'll soon be back on the harbour again. Overlooking us is the fortress of Borzi. Hope I've pronounced that right.
It was from here that the Greeks started to gain their independence and drive out the Turks. They captured the island and bombarded the town, whilst also preventing it from being resupplied. Eventually the Turks surrendered. Built in 1471, it's an interesting place to visit, and boats go out there every 20 minutes. Not only do you have the wonderful views of the sea, but when you leave the shore and climb through the mountains, you have spectacular views of the ranges. Kalamata is the second most populated city in the Peloponnese Peninsula. It's famous for its olives, and the actual name translates to black olive. We stayed at Camp Fair, which is about 4 kilometers, a good walk into the center of the city.
Sea is perfectly calm this morning, and that's already had a swim. And now we're visiting Kalamata, waiting for the bus. But of course it's Monday and all the museums and stuff are closed, which is a bit of a pain. There's a lovely promenade here, and all along are places for bars and restaurants.
The bus dropped us off at the old city, and we went to visit the church, War Museum and the Railway Museum. We also walked back to the coast using the main street Aristomenos. I would have pronounced this Yapapanti, but apparently the correct pronunciation is... So there you go. The museum is run by the army, and you have an escorted tour around the various exhibits. I must say it was very informative and very enjoyable and well worth the visit. I suppose it's good for the recruits too, because they learn about their own history. It's a lovely park. It covers an area of 54 acres and has been operating since 1986. There are also tennis courts, a playground, and an amphitheatre which hosts various events. It wasn't my wife's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed walking amongst the engines. The old 2-story station building, the 4 boarding platforms, the water tower, and the 28-metre long metal pedestrian bridge have also been preserved in this area. As it was Monday, the carriages were closed, but normally they have an information office and host activities of the city's cultural institutions. If you're into this type of thing, it's well worth a visit. And I was really sorry that it was Monday, because I would love to have found more information.
Well, it's a massive harbour, hardly used, but all along here you have these bars, which yesterday, which was Sunday, was absolutely packed. And funny enough, they were this morning. But this must be a quiet time. Well, this is the campsite beds, a bit more tattered than the ones we've just been walking past. You have to say, it's an amazing spot. Scenery around here is just stunning.
So, where is Pylos? It's in the Gulf of Navarone in the Peloponnese. When we were here in 2016, you used to be able to park on the big pier on the left, but they've stopped all that now, and you have to park
on the area on the right hand side. It's still huge. We love Pylos because although it does cater for tourists, it's a place where the Greeks live, work and play, and as such it's a very traditional and authentic town. On the left here is a huge area with loads and loads of sitting. It's where you wine and dine, have your coffee, or just stay for a leisurely afternoon just seeing what's happening. It's also a place where there's often lots of entertainment. We're now arriving at the place you can park. It's free. They do have water but no other facilities. But what a fantastic spot, beautiful view and so close to the town. It's ideal. I'm getting instructions here where to park so we don't get our feet wet when we get out. We're soon rediscovering the town and obviously having our morning coffee at our favourite spots. It was at the Presidium restaurant. This actually was a place where Rick Stein came and did his Mediterranean style cooking. Just having a look at this hotel, which is the edge of Pylos, as you can see from the boat. If I come round here, it's a very nice hotel. And there's Pylos. You'll have to excuse my wife. She's not trying to push the tree down. She's actually doing a stretch as we're walking up to the castle. As you can see, it's a very steep walk, but you are rewarded and it's well worth the effort, as it's one of the best preserved fortresses in Greece. They've relocated the Archaeological Museum of Pylos into the centre of the fortress. At the centre point is the Church of the Transfiguration, itself telling the story of almost the whole history of the castle. It was originally an Ottoman mosque, built at the same time as the castle in 1573. In 1686 it was converted by the Venetians into a Christian church. The Turks recaptured Pylos and the castle in 1715, where it became a mosque once more. It was a church for a few days that the Russians occupied the castle during the abortive Orlov Rising. It then reverted to being a mosque until 1821, when the Greeks captured the castle from the Turks, and the mosque, for the third and last time, became a Christian church. I sound like my old history teacher who gave out a list of boring dates. It tells you nothing about the bloody battles and the lives lost. But to understand modern Greece, I just wanted to illustrate the huge turmoil this country has gone through in order to get its independence. Coming back to more mundane items, recommended by TripAdvisor, we had a meal at the Altos restaurant. It was good, but nothing outstanding. And so ended our first day. We woke in the morning to see a huge battleship during the night had slipped into harbour. It was no surprise really, because we knew that the town was going to celebrate the Battle of Navarino. The Battle of Navarino was a naval battle fought on the 20th of October 1827 during the Greek War of Independence, which lasted 1821 to 29. It was fought in the Bay of Navarino. Allied forces from Britain, France and Russia decisively defeated the Ottoman and Egyptian forces through superior firepower and gunnery. It was the last major naval battle in history to be fought entirely with sailing ships, although most ships fought at anchor. You might wonder why French and British warships were involved in the Greek conflict. It was to counteract and diminish the Russian Empire's long-running expansion at the expense of the decaying Ottoman Empire. Russian ambitions in the region were seen as a major threat by the other parties. So not much has changed there then. But there's another reason why we needed to be in Pylos today. I'd twisted my back during a storm at Gialova and I was in agony and I needed a physiotherapist. and Annette was still having trouble with her teeth and needed a dentist. I can highly recommend these two practices. They were absolutely brilliant. So, as we take our leave from Pylos, I just wanted to have a quick reminder of why we come here. It probably doesn't need mentioning, but the Greeks are very welcoming. It's a wonderful country with so much history. English is widely spoken, and the weather is perfect this time of year.
On the left.
Well, we've arrived at our main destination, Camp Navarino Beach. Hasn't really changed very much, although when we go through I can see that all the units have been greatly uprated. Much nicer than they were when we were here. Well, when you arrive at your pitch, there's always the decision of which way you're going to park the van, either forwards or backwards, right or left. And that's our pitch at the moment, but I think we should reverse in. Annette wants the big window so she can see the ocean from the window, but actually, I think where the canopy is, the awning, I think I'd rather be sitting closer to this space here. But we'll see. I'm not that bothered. I always carry a bow saw, and believe you me, that came in very handy to cut down those trees. So, for our first morning, Annette's already been to the swim, and because in the morning the sea is flat calm. There's Pylos over in the far distance. Great place for paddleboarding. Loads and loads of people are out swimming. And if I just move down the beach a little bit more, there is Gialova. It's a perfect morning, beautiful temperature. Well, Gialova has definitely upgraded itself. I mean, the amount of shops and stuff here improved dramatically. This is a hairdresser's, very nice place. And next door, this is a very nice gallery. But look, that picture there with the boats, that's £15,000. The restaurants are still the same, but they've all gone really catering for a much richer clientele. But this is a lovely shop here. This is still held by the family that we've known for a long time. They used to make their own olive oil, but they use it for themselves now. I think they said they use 100 litres. Then of course you have the front here, which is just full of restaurants all along the front. It's a really delightful place. And along there where you can see the boat there, that's really our campsite. So why do we love Gialova? It's this sort of thing. It's so relaxed. Such a beautiful view. Well, I suppose we're really lucky. Every morning has been more or less like this. Annette's gone for her morning swim, and I'm having a quick coffee. I may go in later. Well, this is a nice thing about Gialova. It's flat calm in the morning, and then in the afternoon the sea breeze gets up, usually to about force 3, force 4, which is ideal for water sports. And as you can see that they all come out to play and have a fantastic time. It's very good for swimming as well, because it's very shallow, right out to the buoy. I'll show you the buoy in the morning. You can still stand up when you get there, so it's ideal for learning how to sail, windsurf, paddleboard. Well, as you can see, you've got all sorts of standards. This guy really struggled, but there's lots of others who are just flying up and down the bay. I mean, this guy, he certainly knows what he's doing. Oh, is it? He knows what he's doing. Well, I have to capture this spot because it is
You just can't capture
perfect, isn't it?
Absolutely. You didn't run it either. Ice.
No, I didn't. Perfect. This is one of our favourite bars, actually. Used to go there most evenings for a drink, and this gives you some idea of how the restaurants operate in the evening. It's a very lively place. Even in October, it was very busy. And there's so many restaurants to choose from. Well, this is what it's like at night. This is where we've just eaten, but all along here There's my little beauty. Hello, darling.
And of course, we ate at Chez Nous, which is a very, very good restaurant.
I mean, it looks as if the weather's going to get better over there, but that's where the storm has gone. And if you look above us, it's still with us and still more to come.
Be quiet before the storm. Almost all of the time we had really good weather, but when it did storm, it really let rip.
Just had your mighty crack of thunder, missed it. Bloody hell, lightning and thunder. Very close. Well, it's directed overhead, really. It isn't nice. Yeah, quite a lot of rain came down. Walk back to our site. This once lovely sunny area is now flooded. It really, really rained.
There's one thing the Greeks do well, and that's storms. Boy, when it rains, it really rains. And look, it's flooded the campsite, and it now looks like a little duck pond.
Over here, it's still thundering. That boat's, oh God, looks like it's damaged its mast as well. That's a shame. What a terrible tragedy that is.
Just when we thought it was all over, it came back with a vengeance.
Although I've tied this awning down, no, it's just blown the bikes down. Whoops. Didn't forecast this at all. Look at that, bloody hellfire. That's not good. Going through a bad storm at the moment. The water is crystal clear and you can see how shallow it is. There's a sandbar there. It goes deep and then it sort of goes shallow again. But you can walk right out to the buoy. So it's a perfect place for learning windsurfing or any, canoeing or paddling or something.
If you look to the right over there, those new buildings on the far right, nothing was there 7 years ago. And it's a brand new holiday complex, very, very plush. We took a visit there and had coffee, had a look round. There was hardly anybody there. It had only opened in the summer, and it's full of beautiful shops, cafes, restaurants, but almost completely empty. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I mean, these shops were stock full. Very elegant, as you can see.
On reflection, I think Gialova has become too commercialised. I think it's lost its Greekness and as such a little bit of its charm. We did have a few days left before we needed to go north to catch our ferry. And so we decided to go to Finicunda. We've been there before and it's a very pretty place. We also decided that we'd stop at Methoni on the way. And I'm showing you this road here because this bypasses the town. And I thought the streets might be very narrow. This road does actually take you past the campsite, but we're driving to the car park which is on the edge of the town. It's a perfect spot. And it's got 2 designated motorhome areas. I did learn afterwards that you can actually come through the town, a little bit narrow, but that's the way we went when we left. There are no facilities here except getting rid of your rubbish, but you're 100 yards from the town. Looking at the bays, it looks that there are 3
ones that are larger than the others, suitable for motorhomes. But to be honest with you, I think at this part of the season, I don't think you would be bothered at all, to be honest with you. I think they need the visitors. And that guy on the left there looks almost semi-permanent. Now, isn't that a perfect view? No visit to Methoni would be complete without seeing the castle, and we decided we'd take the scenic route along the sea. Very beautiful. But when we got to the fortifications at the end, we found the gate to get in was locked. Not to worry, we decided to go and see it in the following morning. We thought Methoni was such a wonderful spot that we wouldn't go to Finicunda and spend the extra day enjoying being here. Now this is a proper entrance, and when you get in you'll find there's a different price for EU members and internationals, and they ask you where you come from. Take a tip from me, just say I come from Ireland and you'll be fine. Methoni Castle was constructed by the Venetians in 1209, and this sprawling fortress occupies nearly 38 hectares of land. Around 1499 to 1500, Methoni became a refuge for Christians and Jews from all over the Peloponnese, but the city was already under siege by the Ottoman invaders. And by the time the 1500s came, all the residents were killed or sold off as slaves. The Ottomans then brought in new citizens from every village in the Peloponnese to repopulate Methoni. The Crusaders captured it in 1532, only to be thrown out shortly after. The Venetians managed to move back in 1686, but only until the Ottomans recaptured it in 715, and the city and port flourished again under Ottoman rule until the Greek War of Independence began. Attached to the castle by a small causeway is the island of Borzi. Its main reason was to defend against hostile ships coming into the harbour, but it's had many uses in its time, from being a prison and also a place where executions were carried out. I've just given you a potted history, but there are many more things for you to discover if you ever have the chance to come here. As for the town itself, it's quite small, but it has a delightful square which is surrounded by bars and restaurants and a lovely place to spend the evening. It was very quiet when we went there, but they still opened till 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know on earth what they were doing, because there weren't many people there at all. Before we left for Pylos, we decided we would top up with water, and we could see from Park for Night that there was water in the middle of the town. Mistake. It's okay if you've got a small car. Now you see that car there? That is the only place that I could have parked and got some water without blocking the road. So we've decided to give it a miss. Of course, now we have to get out. Oh, this is... the trees on this side are even worse. But anyway, let's have a go and let's see how we can get out. Slowly does it, I think. Yeah, don't recommend it unless you have a very small van. Did I say it was small? I'm beginning to change my mind now. Anyway, we're off to Pylos. Now it's time to leave. We have enjoyed our stay immensely. Anyway, we're on our way home and we're going to stop at Ionian Blue, which is a campsite that's been recommended to us. It's basically a restaurant with a large car park, and it's by the sea with a beautiful beach. You don't have to eat at the restaurant, but given the free facilities, with the exception of electricity, at least you can go and eat something. The journey from the campsite to Patras is 36 miles, and I suggest you get there early because Patras harbour is immense and it's very easy to get confused. Nobody seems to know what they're doing, and the one thing I found is that when you're driving to find your boat, the boat you're on is on your ticket, because there are all 3, 4, 5 boats, all with big long queues, and nobody points you in the right direction, so you've got to have your wits about you. I hope these clips have helped you in planning your next trip to Greece, and if it's helped in any way, please press like, and I'd really welcome your comments. They help a lot. So all the best to all our fellow travellers. See you in stage 3.